Like, I chopped over to Twitch, I was like, ah, good, we're getting started.
I mean, it's giving me an ad.
Now it is.
I'm gonna stay here and be grumpy until the ad's over.
Okay. It's an Elder Scrolls Online ad, by the way.
Unfortunate.
Not really, because there's some really cool action happening here. Man, imagine if games played as well as the trailers they had.
Imagine player Elder
Oh,
Scrolls Online,
Jesus
honestly.
God in heaven, it's a Beavis and Butthead ad.
What
Anyways,
the fuck?
my ad is over.
I'm angry.
Yeah,
I can tell you're angry.
Anyway, this is Fanfiction Contempt due to 9005. I'm SneakyDevil. It's fucking getting to fate. Gonna torture you all with cringe-ass nays of the OCs.
Very cool.
Why? This is because of Shadow, yeah.
Yeah.
It's because of Shadow. So Shadow recently updated his story, Twisted Steel, which I'm Tainted Steel, which I'm shocked that I'm not following, because I thought I followed all of his stories. But either way, he just updated recently, so he was sharing with us some really choice reviews that he got. And by choice reviews, I mean...
They were bad.
The fucking brain-dead takes that some of these people had. They were bad. They were really fucking bad. Holy shit, were they bad.
How bad?
It was shit like... So Shiro, in this story of his, went full Man of Steel. Both philosophy-wise and literally. He fully embodied the concept of sword, etc., etc. So he doesn't have a sex drive anymore.
Okay.
And his body's not human anymore.
Okay.
And he's been getting reviews being like, Shiro should get a harem with insert all of their favorite characters from FGO. Just really, like, one guy was like,
none of those characters are present.
Yeah. Well, one of the people were like, Shiro should use Avalon to regain a physical body, and then by looking at Artoria, he'll regain a spiritual body.
No, it was even worse. It was Archer.
Archer, my bad, right, yeah. And I'm just like...
Why am I getting 8 ads?
Do you keep hitting refresh?
No, it just did it.
Oh, Twitch.
That's 8 ads you're not getting paid for, Sneaky.
I know.
It's the same ad 3 times in a row so far.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
It's a 3D. It's a 3D print pen, by the way.
Oh god. Oh,
are we gonna go 4? All right, it's a different one this time.
Oh god, how many?
Come on. Let's add number 5. Play it again, baby.
No, it's a different one.
Here we go again.
I'm not subbing to a channel that I co-host. Why would I do that?
You should send me some Twitch Primes. Give me some. Send me some.
No.
Yeah, send me some money, Max. Come on. Come on, Max.
Oh, man.
What the fuck is an ongoing alert? Computer, you can't flash ongoing alert at me and then not let me open up the bar.
There's an ongoing alert.
Ongoing alert!
Mean?
Okay, what does that mean? Click, click. No, I can't tell you. It's like, fucking... What?
Ongoing alert! It could be that the Xeon dropped a colony. It could be that there's a zombie outbreak. It could just be that there's a stolen car in your area. Who knows?
It looks like a leaf. I don't know why I need to get alerts about leaves. Are we getting invaded by Canada or some shit?
Boy, that would just be the cherry on top for the last 6 months of this year.
Sneaky, Canada is in fact the village hidden in the leaves.
Indeed. Gotcha, roll for alerts now. Indeed. Yes. So.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Just-
I-
that would be amazing.
Holy shit! This holy fuck. Yeah. So anyway, wow. I'm just. Holy fuck. I'm okay. Yeah. Let's do this. Fate Reconcile. Author's note. Title in progress. Apocrypha of Elric Belmont.
Oh yeah, I saw that and I was like,
Yeah, so it gets worse.
how?
Years following the Fifth Grail War, a Magus finds himself and the survivors of the Grail War drawn into the schemes of his father. What it means for him and his partner, Mordred, is yet to be seen, but he knows one thing: his life will never be the same. Mordred times OC self-insert times
Luvia.
possibly a increased harem, and the OC self-insert is Elric Belmont, a OC self-insert of the Castlevania family. That's how it can get worse.
Interesting.
Yeah. And for some reason, Shiro's there too.
Of course. Why not?
Yeah. But he doesn't get part of the harem. Also, Mordred was never
That's
in the
because
Fifth
Shiro
World War.
himself is the harem.
That would be true in
There's
other
a-
stories, but not in
There's
this
a
one.
very good chance of that.
Now, speaking of which, actually, that reminded me of something. So, Parcassius actually put out a story that's actually interesting. Like, genuinely, actually interesting. And overall, not much purple prose in it either. It's a Fate Stay Night Campione cross.
Hang on, who put this out?
Parcassius.
Isn't he kind of known for purple prose?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. It's like I'm kind of just like, what the fuck?
How?
Yeah,
How did you
it's
do
really,
this?
yeah, it's really weird. It's a Fate Hero of the Sword V2. It's the Campione. It's the rewrite of his Campione Fate Stay Night crossover, where it takes place in the Campione verse, and Shiro is a character in the Fate Stay Night story, which, because of the properties of the Campione verse, becomes a legend. And so he gets summoned out of his legend
Huh.
by Artoria, who is a normal girl living in Japan.
Yeah, of course she is.
I've ranted about the start of it, but it's pretty solid. Yeah, no, it's like shockingly good. And right now, he is doing something I have seen no one else ever even touch on. Because of the way that Shiro, in his archer form, was summoned, and how his unlimited blade works operates, whenever he summons forth an item used by another legend, right now, due to Athena's magic on him, obfuscating people's ability to read him, he is actually appearing as the person of the legend, and their personality kind of, like, has a hand on the steering wheel.
Yes, I see.
So, like, he previously, he first learned about it when he summoned up Scathach's version of Galebog, and turned into Scathach, or however to pronounce her name. Scathach. Scathach, okay.
Big titty.
Good old Celtic.
Yeah, good old Celtic. So it turns into Skathok and just absolutely destroys a Campione because of her, god
Anti-divine.
anti-divine properties. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah. And then in the most recent chapter, he summoned a Kidnew's chain, a Numera Lesh or whatever it's called.
Oh, that's
no.
just Enkidu.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Yeah. But then turned into Enkidu.
Yeah.
And Enkidu's just like, I am chain, you are sword. I recognize you one tool to another. And it's like, oh. Oh shit.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Yeah, so it's actually been really interesting, and I'm like, wow, until he brought it up, I never even thought of that. Like, a lot of people just kind of brush off in the Fate, because it's a decent sized section. It's got like a couple hundred stories, I think. The Campione Fate crossover section. Pretty much everyone just brushes off the fact that Shiro casually summons weapons from legend in a world where that means something.
Yeah, like in universe, they do a good job in the official material. Like, yeah, no, this is not how it's supposed to work. This is an actual problem. But yeah, the fandom does just kind of ignore it. Probably because most of the fandom came from the anime rather than the source material, or the original source material.
Right. Well, true. But I also mean the part where it's in Campione verse, like weapons of legend actually contain parts of the legend, and the gods reside in their legend in Campione verse.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
I guess I need to bump Campione up in the backlog.
Oh, absolutely. Don't even bother reading it. It's absolute garbage.
I was talking about the anime.
It's also absolute garbage.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, it's all
right.
pretty much absolute garbage.
Back on the list it goes.
Yeah, it's another case of like sort of like in line with DxD of like the races, their powers, how the world's set up, all really cool. And then it's like, okay, so what's the main story? Absolute fucking garbage. All right, so how are the main characters? Absolute fucking garbage. Oh, I see. Yeah, poor Cassius is creative, it's just that his prose tends to drag him down. Yeah, it really does, which is why I was really shocked that Hero of the Sword, or whatever it's called, is, like, not bloaty. Like, when he does get a little bit prosy,
I read
actually...
very little of his stuff, and even I know it's like, this is the prose man.
Yeah, like... The time the prose does occur in his latest chapters, for that story only, might I say, some of his other stories that I'm currently reading, just because he updates so often, it's just prose. Like, there was one chapter he recently just updated with, where it was 7,000 words that could be summarized into about 2 sentences of action. Which was bad. But yeah, for some reason, this story, it's like, the prose that does occur in this story is, like, actually completely valid because of, like, the mechanics going on in the background. To be fair, it's probably easier to ignore the tracing and campy bonus shit mixes. Well, that's the point of writing a crossover, though. You're crossing over the powers and the characters. That's like having a Superman versus. It's like, Superman versus Merlin. Superman wins because he's just the bestest. It's like, well, actually, Superman's one weakness is magic, canonically. So
Magic and kryptonite, magic and glowing green rocks from his home world.
The super wizard is probably actually gonna win. But if you're just like, I don't want to cross the magic over. I don't want to deal with the magic rules. So, Superman versus Merlin, but they can only arm wrestle. It's like, What's the point of doing a versus then? What's the point of doing a crossover if you're not actually like writing a crossover? I just don't get it. I like how he's upset the general plot of Campione. Yeah, I know, or I know you're just tossing out, but it is something that I do consistently see, which is why I'm commenting on it, because it's just so, it's painful. And I see so many crossover stories where it's like, well, these powers would interact very differently if you were actually like, a fan of the series. Like Naruto using his Sage Chakra powers in DxD actually would be really significant because Sage Chakra is a thing in DxD already.
Wasn't there a story that covered that? Shopkeep, whatever.
Yeah, Shopkeeper, yes. Yeah, one of thousands that exist covered it. Yeah. But there's hundreds of stories where Naruto is a sage, is in DxD, and just runs around using Nature Chakra, despite the fact that DxD's already like canonized how Nature Chakra works in DxD, and that it's not an enjoyable experience for people that can use Nature Chakra because of how polluted the planet's become. Also, the multiple wars and God dying on the planet kind of didn't exactly do great things for the Nature Chakra. But
look at it this way, Sneaky. If you eat enough of it, you can eat God.
I'm just gonna move on.
That's how that stupid universe works.
Shiro in Another World. Shockingly, not in a crossover section.
Technically possible if it's one of the other timelines in Fate, like the CCC verse or a Lost Belt or something. Get the feeling that's not what it is, though.
Author chapter. Important story changes. I really suggest everyone reads this story, even though it's not a story chapter. I wanted this fiction to be within realistic expectations, and I used the Type Moon wiki, which, while allowing for wider maneuverability with some mixed speculations from Reddit and my own headcanons. But since someone pointed out that I've went and somehow burned my own shipwreck of a fanfic, I'll find a way to burn it in water somehow. I'll take any reviews critically for now. I happily continue to modify the story in the limits of the Nasuverse boundaries, simply as both a dedicated Fate and Fanfiction.net fan. So any Fate experts out there, please help me with my story. This is what I'm fucking talking about. It's like the dude's like, oh yeah, shit, I just realized I actually have to read the wiki when I start talking about Fate powers. And it just came to me 3 chapters into already publishing a story about Fate. Shocker. You actually need to know the subject that you're writing about.
At least they did eventually figure it out.
Yeah, but giving them condolences on that, Atin, is sort of like it's like clapping for a baby when they start walking. It's kind of condescending.
Hey, they figured out something that some people never get the hang of properly.
Yes, but walking is sort of a thing that the human body is built for, specifically on 2 legs, walking. So it's not really that impressive. It's like giving applause to a fish for breathing in water. It's like kind of expected. Not really a major achievement.
And yet there are some fish that don't manage it. Although, to be fair, that might be the cancer's fault.
A little bit sometimes. It might also be the crab that's inside their gills eating them.
You know what that is, Sneaky? That's quitter talk.
Possibly. I feel like I did a good job rewriting Chapter 2 compared to the prologue in Chapter 1. So I'm going to be a man and avoid responsibilities.
I mean, that is a pretty manly thing.
I guess.
If you're a deadbeat.
I was going to go somewhere else with that, but yes. Instead of fixing my mistakes, I'll just bullshit them with headcanon instead. I still get goosebumps from my previous time writing Shiro's appraisal skill. What? Oh, fucking what? In the modern era, temperatures 0.3 to 0.6. Now there's more molecules in the atmosphere with a 0.6 deviation of a zero original world temperature. So therefore we have magical energy. Wait, wait, what? Wait, what? It's gotten hotter, so therefore there's less magic.
No, I don't even want to know how they're trying to justify that. There was actually a really interesting book I read on. It was some self-published author on Kindle. It was actually pretty interesting because they're like, yeah, so magic comes from entropy.
I mean, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I'll give them that. That is cool sounding. Hold on. Let me just go grab my happy juice.
Yes, your tried and true happy juice. Well, pretty sure this is where we're supposed to vamp, fellas.
Wait, we do that still?
In theory.
All right, Max, have you started playing Fire Emblem 3 Hopes yet?
No, I only got home like an hour and a half ago and had to take care of other shit before this call started.
Fair. I'm waiting until 2 weeks because I have a vacation coming up, so then I can just power through that shit.
Hmm.
Right. So, yeah, this author is sitting here trying to tell us that global warming is because magic's disappearing.
Damn, good for global warming, yo.
Yeah. And this is all based on the logic that, magical energy is being turned into thermal energy because reasons. And so I guess during the Ice Age, the magic was the strongest because we had less thermal energy in the atmosphere? According to this author?
Were the dinosaurs, in fact, the strongest magic users?
Actually, they were probably the weakest because it was pretty hot during the era of the dinosaurs.
That's true, it was.
That's why the Ice Age killed them, alongside the meteor.
Well, that and the magic wielding
Mammoths.
I mean, I was gonna say the original Homo sapiens, but Because, like, you can't tell me Homo neanderthalis was figuring out magic.
Yeah, I actually can, because they were smarter than us.
And
Yeah,
yet,
they were.
we're the ones that are here.
Well, yeah, that's because they
Because
were.
we outbred them.
Yeah, we outbred them. So yeah, Homo neanderthalis actually was around 7 to 8 feet tall, and they weighed around twice the triple our highest body weights of not fat person average body weight. So they were around 500 to 700 pounds, and they were thick slabs of muscle, and they were extremely smart. But the downside to being basically high spec in both intelligence and strength as just a genetic advantage is that you require about 8,000 calories a day. In the time period in where we didn't even have farming yet. Or good storage. So there couldn't be a lot of Neanderthals around because they kind of just ate so fucking much. And it was estimated that at that point in time in the human evolution, about the same amount of food that would support one Neanderthal would support 6 to 10 Homo sapiens.
Nice.
And it just turns out that doesn't matter how strong you are or how smart you are, you get ganged up by 6 dudes with a shiv.
They don't even need the shiv.
Yeah, so we ended up breeding with Erectus, Neanderthalis, and like 2 other Homo offshoots. And we kind of outbred everyone else, kind of took all their genetic success and just outbred them. And we were, before breeding with Homo Neanderthal, Homo sapien was way weaker, about 4 feet high, and a lot dumber, like around 50 IQ.
Okay, I gotta ask. Well, actually, I was gonna say how'd they get to breed, and then I'm like, wait, 0 moral guidance. I know how they did it.
Also horny.
I mean,
Also
yes,
possibly
but
rape.
Sneaky, this was probably a lot more of a dolphin situation than anything else.
It's 50-50. We did find some villages with a large amount of sapien and Neanderthal bones, who died from wounds, but they weren't the ones delivering them. So it could be very much a situation of it wasn't exactly, the pairings weren't exactly accepted by society, and they kind of all just congregated in their own little outcast villages, and then one side decided to exterminate them occasionally. Yeah, so humanity. Anyway, so after shoving a whole bunch of math in our face and declaring that because there's less magic in the atmosphere, that means there's more kinetic energy in the atmosphere, and that's why it's hotter.
Is that why my gun works better?
Yes.
In Chicago?
Yes. So therefore, global warming and typhoons happen because there's less magic in the air. And then this was the source of humanity's ability to advance.
What?
Because there was more kinetic energy in the atmosphere than magic.
I was joking about the gun thing, yo.
The author is not. And then the author goes on to say, wow, humans sure are assholes. I totally support Gaia now. Author, I'm duly impressed by your ability to invent that entire whatever the fuck that was. You just talked yourself into a circle into supporting Gaia. Every disaster that happens in human history is created by the ratio that he mentioned earlier about magic to kinetic energy. Meaning that right now, Gaia has more power to influence the physical realm because there is more magical energy than kinetic energy. And using my invented 1.6 scale, Gaia ups the temperature to hope that humans die from it being hotter?
Sure, whatever,
But
bro.
I thought you just said the whole reason that we had more. Did he just retcon his own reasoning in the same chapter that's supposed to be giving us his reasoning?
That's
Possibly.
possible.
I've gotten off topic. Oh shit. Let's say Shiro lives in the modern era with the mana equivalent of 0.4. Then you throw his soul into a 0.7. So Shiro has double the mana now because his unlimited blade works retained the memories when it got isekai'd. No.
I don't think that's how that works.
I mean, it might work for people like Rent. So basically, in Fate, gotta explain this, even though I'm pretty sure everyone here knows kind of a little bit already. In Fate, the average mage, magus or whatever, the average magus, casts spells by taking in odd from the world and then mixing it with their prana. And odd and prana are just the words for mana, except it's supposed to differentiate the mana that comes from themselves internally and the mana that comes from the air of the world. And they mix those two together, and then they cast their spell with that. And so basically, by going halvesies or using even more of the world's mana than your own mana, you can extend how much mana you can use. And this is all dependent on both your ability and the strength and number of your circuits. Number, I believe, was effectively... Number was the size of the fire hose, and purity of the circuits were the pressure of the fire hose. Which, you know, means how much water you're capable of outputting and how much, you know, magic you're capable of producing effectively. Shiro does not do that.
He does his own best, I think.
Yeah, well, also the fact that
Well-
like 90% of the shit that Shiro does is all internal. He can't use odd for that because it's all stuff that he's doing to himself. Because of Nasuverse rules, basically, yada yada. Spells
No,
work best when they
yeah.
are using prana of your own body or something like that.
I'm on the wiki right now. Ode is the internal mana
my bad.
stuff that sits,
So
and
swap it.
mana's atmosphere. So, like,
Yeah.
Shiro, because no one taught him better, and he only had presumably like maybe half a year's worth of training from Kiritsugu in this.
Yeah.
Shiro spec'd fully into using internal prana.
Right, because he had no idea how to use external.
Yeah, like if anything, as has been discussed, Shiro's bullshit. Like he's probably has some of the best ode efficiency in the world as a result.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that his circuits are both garbage and low in number.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help that he was also forging new circuits because he didn't know better.
But those circuits were not being forged, actually. Those were temporary circuits. They weren't
He was
permanently.
turning his nerves into circuits.
Yeah, they-
temporarily.
Yeah, no, as far as I thought those still stuck
No.
around. Like, he had to make a new circuit with a new nerve because he didn't know how to access the ones he
I-
just made.
It was a temporary circuit. Yeah, the second he let go of
Okay.
the magic, it would go back to being a nerve.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's not at all what I got from the VN.
Yes.
Guess it was just poorly explained.
Yeah, originally I thought the same as you, Max, and I was like, wait, if Shiro's been doing this every night, he should have literally hundreds of circuits. And I was talking with someone who knows way more about Fate than me, and they were basically explaining how it was basically temporary.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we don't know how much that person actually knew, and let's be honest, Nikki, with my interactions with you, there's a good chance they took a fan theory and
Well,
decided it was so good.
it's entirely possible, Max, but being that canonically Shiro only has 27 circuits, I don't believe if that Shiro has been doing this to the point where it's to no surprise that he fell asleep in the tool shed again, and he only falls asleep in the tool shed when he's practicing with his circuits. And he's been doing this since apparently he's been like 8, so it's been about 5 years. I find it very hard to believe that he's only done it 27 times.
Oh, no, for sure. He says he's done it every single night. That is
Right.
explicitly stated by him. I just figured that they were circuits that could no longer be used, period. Like, basically, he burned that nerve out for good, which would also explain his pain tolerance.
It's entirely possible, but nothing was ever said about that. And then when Rin specifically commented on how many circuits he had, she never mentioned anything about burned out circuits, which I assume, Rin being Rin, she would be able to detect.
Like, that's weird. There's a lot of just burnout nerves in your body. Why is that?
Though, I would be interested in reading a story. I believe Shadow did something similar to this with Denial of Reality or whatever his story was called. But I would be interested in reading a Fate Stay Night story featuring Shiro, where all of these nerves stayed circuits, but he in
Nerve damage.
Well, yes, nerve damage, but also he in
No, that's
your
the actual name of the fic.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yes, it's literally nerve
Oh.
damage.
Good.
And they stayed circuits?
Yes.
Oh, well, I linked that then. Is it any? Okay, yeah.
It's dead as shit, but
Hey,
it
look,
was
man,
good.
dead
If it-
but exists is still something.
And well, also, if it's dead as shit, there's a 50-50. It's a good story.
Fair enough.
Yes.
That's kind of sad, to be honest. Anyway.
You know, I get the feeling that regardless of which version we take, where like that nerve is just gone for good
Yeah,
and unusable,
Yeah.
or it just, converts back,
yeah.
it's never stated one way or the other.
It's not, no.
It-
But we
There
are
you go.
given circumstantial clues that you can draw assumptions from, such as the fact that he has only 27 actual circuits,
oh,
and that it's never
no, I-
mentioned by the multiple people that have scanned him.
no,
um,
I know, but they're looking for circuits, not burned out nerve pathways.
That would appear as circuits because they work as circuits. So if they were converted into a circuit to the point where it can actually channel magic, then you would think that would be, detectable. Because apparently, Rin knows exactly what Shiro is doing when Shiro describes what he's doing. When he's talking about turning his circuits into a nerve. Rin just happens to know exactly what he's talking about, and she berates him for it because it's incredibly painful and highly dangerous and potentially lethal to you. So it's not like oh, he stumbled upon this or something. So you apparently know this is a thing that Maguses just know, and if all Maguses know this, and it's like, oh, well, it's just pain then, and only potentially lethal, you would think that more Maguses would be turning their nerves into circuits then. or turning other people's nerves into circuits and then harvesting those circuits and implanting them into themselves. But that's never a thing. So you can either chalk that up to authorial failure, or you can chalk that up to the fact that they don't stick around as circuits because they're not supposed to be circuits. Also, on top of that, you also have to keep in mind that Avalon is kind of also implied having been the reason why Shiro never died doing this for about, 700 sometimes, or more.
It's been
Um,
10 years since nerve damage, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And it was made by the guy that did Magical Girls in Bretonia.
Oh, nice. So anyway, this all comes back down to my point being is that it would be really cool if there was a fic where all of his circuits stayed around. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, so back to me explaining this part of the story where the author is just completely wrong and utterly dumb. Shiro wouldn't have double mana. He would at best have like maybe, I don't know, on average 5% more mana to work with because, again, almost all of his spells rely purely on his internal mana instead of the world mana, so the world being richer wouldn't actually affect him at all. The only way it would affect him, and it was something that is pretty much agreed upon in the community when it comes to this, is worlds that have less Gaia presence rejecting magical things would be easier on him. Because a large portion of the cost of his abilities, like tracing, is the fact that he has to enforce this magical object on a world where magic is considered quote-unquote dead. So a world that's more in line with, Age of Gods sort of shit would probably be far easier on him. Simply because it's not actively trying to erase him and his existence from it. But anyway, apparently this story is just, it's even worse than we thought, gentlemen. The author thought it was reasonable that Shiro is twice as powerful because previously, before the rewrite, he was 1,000 times more powerful. So he was like, yes, this is a reasonable compromise. He's only twice as powerful instead of 1,000.
No one has ever accused fanfiction writers of good sense.
Well, Shadow just linked something that I just went through really quickly. Shiro's an idiot.
This is known.
Yeah, Kiritsuga's like, we're gonna learn how to make your magic circuits, but you can't. It's separate from your nervous system. The little dumbass proceeds to continue trying to make a circuit using his nervous system. God, this fucking kid.
So he could have had real magic circuits. He's just dumb.
Oh, he does have real magic circuits. Like, most people aren't born with them unless they're from Omaga's family. And you can also implant circuits and crests and all that fun stuff. Kiritsuga's like, we're going to make your first circuit. And I guess they succeeded 27 times, and then once Kiritsugu died, Shiro suddenly forgot how to properly do it.
No. I think what is trying to be said here is Kiritsugu is trying to explain to him how to awaken his own magical circuits. Because, you could also take, because again, magic circuit in this instance is being capitalized, which means it's a proper noun, which means it can refer to the plural of his collective magic circuits. With that being said, he says, we will first make a line to allow mana to flow through your body.
Well, and before that, he says the creation of your magic circuit.
Right.
Like,
I
there could be some translation issues here,
yeah,
and based on the syntax, yes.
I'm heavily
likely.
suspecting a translation issue there. But because it's like he's not saying they're going to be like making some new organ in the body. He's saying we're going to imagine a line that's allowing mana to flow into your body. This is different to your nervous system, but it's sort of it's something you don't have in the first place. Okay, so Kiritsugu doesn't even know that Shiro has circuits. So yes, it's entirely possible then that Shiro's thousands of attempts at creating a magic circuit ended up creating 27.
What's the count for like a decent magus? Isn't it like 150?
Yes.
100 something?
Yeah, around 100.
It goes about 40.
40 to 100?
40
40
to
is
50, I think it was.
40 is considered like exceptional. Like Rin is considered an exceptional mage. She's at 40 circuits according to the wiki, and able to hold 30 sub magical circuits for some reason. So she has closer to 70 technically.
Yeah,
Magic
but
crest.
yeah, right. So that's the whole thing with the magic crests, the family crest thing, is those are actually circuits that have been removed from a person and then put into the family, like from those family members. So and they
yeah,
pass
I-
on their
I-
family
yeah,
crest,
I
they
get that
remove
one,
their
but-
circuits and put them in there.
Yeah, but her
Yeah.
natural magic circuits are 40 in number, and she's considered exceptional.
Right, but that's what I was saying, around 100, because it's like
100 would be a freak of nature.
no,
if
like
it's-
100 is their own magical circuits plus their family crest, is what my brain was.
No, in that case, I guess Luvia apparently has 100 in total.
Okay, so yeah,
So-
that's what I was kind of basing it off
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
But keep in mind again, this isn't the average. This is the exceptional.
Right.
The average seems to be closer to like 20 to 30. And the reason that Shiro's
The
is so fucking weird
average-
is because it can barely hold any energy.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
Like,
if
he's got
the
a good,
average number.
Like
Yeah,
I
he's got
told
a
you,
good
he's got
amount,
some
he just
really
can't
shit
use
ones.
them.
Yeah, they're really fucking garbage. So yeah, so it's entirely possible then that he did in fact create those 27, and it would make sense if they were created from nerves for them to be garbage. That does make sense, because Rin talks about awakening his magic circuits as if he had just never, like, as if he'd never created them. Like, again, this might be a translation problem, but when Rin's talking about awakening his magic circuits, she's talking more about like it's like Shiro was trying to do a push-up with just his pinky this whole time, and Rin's like, no, you idiot, let me show you how to use a hand. You know? Well, like, that's what I got from it. If Rin was like, oh, you have magic circuits because you're capable of doing the whole circuit with your nerves thing in the first place. So I'm just going to awaken them, and you can use those instead of creating a fucking magic circuit with your nerves each time. Which, if Rin is as smart as she is, and if Shiro had survived as many attempts as she would believe he did, if he had 27 of the same circuits, and if she had believed them to be created from his likely hundreds to thousands of attempts of creating magic circuits with his nerves, probably would have told him to keep doing it. Since he survived this many attempts already. If he was going to die from this, he probably would have done it, several thousand attempts ago.
Yes. Also, like, worst case scenario, she could always just take his. Like, oops. Sure,
I mean, yeah.
they're garbage circuits, but it's 27 circuits I didn't have before.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah,
Just throw those in the jar.
yeah. So like, there's a lot of evidence pointing to there being some really weird translation errors here. But I don't think the whole idea of him creating circuits, permanent circuits out of his nerves was ever something they wanted to make canon.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the wiki is mentioning number of magic circuits is determined at birth and cannot decrease or increase naturally. I would argue that he might have made a few unnaturally because of the method he was using.
Yes. Yeah, that.
Even if it
yeah.
was just like even if it was like 1 in 1,000 that happened to do it, the kid's been doing this for the better part of like probably at minimum 6 to 8 years.
I mean,
Every single night. He
Yeah.
mentions he's never missed a night of training.
okay, so and Kiritsugu died when he was like what 7, and he's like what 14 to 15 now.
I think timeline is Kiritsugu died when Jiro was 6, and he is 16 at the start of Stay Night.
All right, so about 3,000 attempts. So even if it was a 1 in 1,000, he would only create 3 circuits.
Wait. No, it's 10 years. Well, sorry. I think he was 8. He's 16 now. Kiritsugu died about 8, I think. Sorry, I fucked up the math, but it's because it's 10 years after the fourth
so
war.
even two circuits then, if it's 1 in 1,000. If it's a number so absurd that even Maguses won't chase after it, then it's just not.
Oh, okay, there's a little bit of context I was missing there, Shadow. Thanks for pointing that out. What the fuck, Taiga?
What did she do?
Oh.
Taiga gave Kiritsugu the advice that he should deceive Shiro about what is being taught and not teach him the basic parts, which explains a lot about why Shiro was so successful with his particular brand of gradation.
Yes, but Shiro is still fucking retarded because Kiritsugu explicitly says this is different from your nervous system, and Shiro still fucking went ahead and fucked with his nervous system.
Yeah.
So even when he was teaching him wrong, Shiro still fucked up harder than what he thought was possible.
Mission successfully failed.
Mission task
failed successfully.
Yeah.
Shiro.
Oh, I love how stupid fate is.
The more that comes out, the better it becomes on the stupidity scale.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, wouldn't it be the opposite instead of task failed successfully? Because task failed successfully. So the task would be teaching Shiro.
Yeah, he failed successfully.
Well, him failing successfully would be that Shiro, I guess, learned magic anyway. But it'd be like it'd be like task failed to fail.
Yeah. Well, what we have
Because
here,
Shiro fucked up learning from Kiritsugu so hard, he successfully learned how to cast magic.
yeah. Fuck, man, that's
It's impressive, is what it is.
Yeah, can you imagine being taught
I'm just-
incorrectly and then
I'm
you fucked up
reminded.
so hard? You went full circle and went back to learning correctly.
I'm reminded of an
Somehow.
old parody of like Naruto back in the mid-aughts. It was an abridged series, and they're like, we trained him to what was it?
We trained him
purposely
wrong.
trained him wrong,
Yeah.
and they just show a picture of Rock Lee, who was one of the most skilled fighters in that lineup.
Yeah.
What occurred? Kiritsugu trained him wrong on purpose and still fucked up.
No, Kiritsugu didn't fuck up. Kiritsugu was successful in training him wrong. Shiro fucked up his own training from Kiritsugu's lessons, misunderstood his own fucked up lessons, all the way full circle into not being a fuck up.
This is why you don't teach a sword.
You know what? I'm just gonna say this now. I'm back to trying to work on that gamer house husband fix, Sneaky.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have him naturally with 27 circuits and not fuck with that number. It's just This is too much to think about. I'm not parsing this. Fuck that.
Completely fair and understandable, sir.
Completely.
I've already got him busting shit with the modified gamer system. I'm not sitting here and figuring out all these garbage numbers.
And that is why Orf and I have done our modified gamer system where we're not even going to have numbers.
Exactly. Like, I think you've read my first chapter. The numbers are only there to explain the system, and that's it. Those numbers will never be said. Shown ever again.
There is not no numbers. There is, at the moment, 2 numbers. Number 1 is the number of charges for his spells, so he can actually have a cooldown on his spells, so he can't just be like Lamau, unlimited power.
Yeah.
And number 2 is he has mastery, which is going to be a narrative thing, where we are going to be using the gamer system to display his mastery points over an element, so we can have him actually learn the elements like an alchemist would, so we can slow down him just bull rushing the campaign effectively.
Yeah. You're going for the same method I went for, which was you get just enough numbers to understand what's happening, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Don't get used to it.
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, no, we've actually fully we've I was gonna say fully fleshed it out because we're still to this day is working on it, but we've done a significant amount of work on this system, and it's I like it. It's pretty flexible narratively, and it'll be fun. I gave Sakura 2000 Circus. What? What?
Maybe she'll actually be useful now.
Gave Sakura how much?
2,000.
The second change to my story is the average amount of circuits in someone. If there was maggots out there, they would kill me for how stupid my imagination is. I previously gave Sakura 2,000 circuits and the average medieval mage 150.
Where is this number specifically quoted, anyways? Known numbers by characters. Average Magus 20. Actually, that's just on the wiki. Average Magus 20.
Yeah.
Where did the number 150 come from?
That was just the number I'd heard repeated a bunch. I was like, this is like 150, right?
What? From what?
You people.
What do you mean, you people? I've said nothing about
Don't
the
you
average
people
amount of
me?
circuits.
That's racist.
I've just been playing a rhythm game.
Alright. Regardless. Yeah, 2,000 circuits. What the fuck?
2,000
What is she gonna do
circuits?
with that? What is she gonna do with that? I'm pretty sure her body would tear itself
apparently.
apart.
Instead, let's use Shiro as a scale.
Oh yeah, that's smart.
Oh, that's just gonna make your story better, author. Oh god.
Shiro's the new scale. Oh god.
Shiro's 27 circuits are the result of him living in a world where the mana is only at 0.4.
Oh god,
No,
I don't like this.
No, oh god. This is like being in the car with someone and you look at your fuel gauge and you're like, ah, shit, we have like a fourth of our fuel gauge left. How many miles do we think we can get on this? Like, you know, you're in your head, you're calculating, like, you know, maybe we can get like another like 30, 50 miles before we actually have to stop at gas. You know, give us a nice buffer just in case, you know, we miss a gas station or something. And then your friend is like, well, at the rate of 0.4, It's like, where did the 0.4 come from? I think we should get about 170 more miles on the gallon. It's like, what?
Sir, I wish to
I-
purchase. I wish to know what vehicle you've purchased.
I want to know where he's getting some of this info from.
Yeah, well, you see, the coefficient is now better after the 30
actually-
years of us developing cars. It's like, what the coefficient? What the? What? Where are you getting this 0.7? Where is the 0.4?
Okay. Just remembered something. He's making this weird argument that the average medieval magus is 150. The whole point of a magus family is to
Increase the number.
increase the number and the quality of the circuits.
I mean, it makes sense, right? So, say medieval maguses would actually have like 5 circuits. Because again, if there's more magic in the air, your body doesn't need as many magic circuits to do stuff with.
Yeah. You don't... There's so much mana around you, why would you want to use your ode outside of, like, fucking emergencies?
Yeah. So, like, that's the thing, is like, we can actually, this has got real life principles. This is actually what I really liked about Fate. I was talking about this when Shadow was complaining. What I really like about Fate is that there's a lot of stuff in Fate, like magic circuits, boundary fields, a lot of the thaumaturgy in Fate, and etc., is all based on real life occultism and has some basis in like real myths and legends. And because of that, you can look back and be like, okay, so if this was the Fate verse, how would X thing go then? Because it's based off of real life stuff, and real life stuff has a history to it. You can look at the history of the real life stuff and be like, okay, well, if this is what the history looks like in real life, then and Fate's mimicking the current status of it, then I can use that history to parallel what Fate's history might look like then, in terms of occultism. And in these instances, we can use spiders and bugs, insects, because bugs and insects and spiders all breathe through their exoskeleton. And back when there was a lot more oxygen in the air, they were able to support bigger exoskeletons, because the bigger exoskeletons were able to breathe in a exponentially more amount of oxygen that the larger bodies would need. And the reason why they're so small now is because there isn't enough oxygen in the atmosphere to make it worthwhile to be big. Because the whole bunch of coefficients of like body mass requiring exponentially more oxygen the larger it gets, and them only being able to take in so much oxygen. So the fact that we had more oxygen than we do currently meant that they could be larger and then take in the oxygen as if they were smaller than, as if they were current size with our current level of oxygen. So if there is a saturation of magic in the air, and the number of circuits in terms of evolution typically goes up because mages select for that, that would mean that the number of circuits you would have in the medieval era would be less, and you would get a disproportionate result from those less circuits compared to the modern number of circuits, because there was more magic in the air. And, we're not able to do math on magic in terms of how much saturation of magic would change that. But it was said that a lot of mysteries lost their power over time, and that it's significantly harder.
Mysteries losing their power had to do with them ceasing to be mysteries.
Right, but it also had to do with the fact that it was getting disproportionately harder and harder to cast magic in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mana is going the way of entropy. It is a slowly dwindling resource in most Fate
mana
timelines.
eventually, in Fate, actually, mana eventually turns into ether, which is a poisonous level of high concentration magic.
Yeah, we in fact get to see a world in the Prisma Ilia manga. Like, hey, what happens when all the mana is gone? It's just ether. Ah, shit's fucked.
Shit gets
Shit-
really fucked.
Shit is extra fucked.
It's like hyper fucked.
What's the Fate universe where they ran out of magic?
That's that one.
There was extra, and then there was that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's at least 2 timelines where it occurred.
Yeah.
And so the extra one's great though, because the Magi are all like, well, how do we adjust this? What if we just go digital? I like the way you
We gotta kick
Some of them
shit
went
into the
digital and then-
digital gear.
Some of them went digital, and some of them went merc and then digital.
Indeed. So anyway,
Because
yeah, this
apparently Rin had a sniper rifle.
based.
yeah, I think she had a sniper rifle and was partnered
She was also
with
blonde.
Lancer.
So this is an instance where the author is sort of correct in their logic, but is applying their logic backwards. Modern magi would have more circuits, which would mean medieval maguses would have less circuits.
Oh,
the
yeah,
opposite.
they would. So the thing of like they'd look at Sakura's 2000 and be like, what the fuck? That's correct, but not for the reason he thinks.
Rin went terrorist based. So anyway, the author postulates that medieval mages would have more magic circuits because reasons. And look at all this math I'm producing. Clearly I'm right. A modern magi could produce 25 units of prana in the Fate timeline. Which Fate timeline?
Hell, the base visual novel alone has 3.
Ooh, which Fate timeline? Oh, yes, the Fate timeline! Yeah, sir, you're in a car lot. You can't just say, that car over there. Yeah, you kind of need to be a little bit more specific. Tsukihime's timeline has 40 units of prana. So I'll just average that out and say 30 units of prana. So they should produce 70 units of prana in the medieval era. That's that's not how magic or math works at all. I like how autistic Fate gets about describing how their magic system works, even though they completely then proceed to ignore all the rules. And then the fucking authors that storm in, they're like, I want to write a story, I want to get really mathy about it. They proceed to do all of the math wrong. It's like, you have one job.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Fate. Each Fate timeline sets up rules, so when you're trying to write for all of it, you fuck up because all the rules all change between timelines.
Oh yeah, the rules are massively different each time you're...
Like, they have one common thing. If you're summoning a hero or something, you need a fuck ton of prana. Doesn't matter where from, you just need a fuck ton. And something to sustain it.
Yeah, which is why I'm just like... Again, the Nasu verse in general is a fandom where you have so many excuses and rules that you can fall back on to explain why the dumb shit you are trying to write could happen. And then these fanfic authors just come out and they're like, easily, readily made, canon compliant excuses? Nah, we ain't gonna have none of that shit here. Hey guys, I'm about to take a dump on a plate. Look at my retarded opinion. It's just like, why? Why? Shiro can hide his 270 units of output from them while looking like a cripple with only 27. give the average person in the medieval era 15 mana pathways. I'm trying to bullshit my way into being more acceptable and realistic to fate.
I just want to know where he got his numbers from.
These numbers are all made up! Artificial nerves turned into prana circuits. I'm starting to think my imagination is bad. The reason why I allowed Shiro to turn his nerves into permanent prana circuits is because it was one of the few things Shiro could actually do. I wanted to actualize his mistakes into research. It's a bad idea, and I mixed shit up into it. But I guess I could try and make it a good idea. Like, nuclear energy is bad, but it's a power source, so it's good.
One of these people.
Nuclear energy is bad. Nuclear energy. Oh yes, everyone knows about the nuclear energy. That that hot new energy type, nuclear. Right next to kinetic and thermal is nuclear.
I mean, I don't see a problem here.
Holy shit. Holy fuck. Oh my god. Once we learned to harness nuclear power, it became a good thing. We didn't know about nuclear power until we harnessed it. There is actually
No possible way to discern it.
I mean, there's that, but also there is very, very little in this world that is naturally radioactive. Like, the composition of the Earth, like, the radioactive form of uranium is extremely rare. It was so rare, we invented a way to make the radioactive form of uranium. That's how rare it was, is we spent the time artificially creating it. Because of how hard it was to find it in the wild. Naturally radioactive shit is incredibly rare. So it's still the nuclear bonds breaking, that energy release, the radiation. I don't even know what they're talking about when they say nuclear energy. If they're talking about radiation, radiation's been known about for actually a very long time. Because some things are naturally radioactive. Despite how rare they are, there are some things out there that were naturally radioactive. And when people spontaneously die after being around this one rock for a long time, some people start asking questions, and they're like, why is this rock killing people? They're not even touching it. And you know, after it kills a couple more people, they finally go, oh, being around the rock kills you. But I don't know, if you're talking about nucleic bonds, nuclear bonds, as they're called, strong bonds and weak bonds, and the energy created by breaking those, I guess, but that's still not nuclear energy. Oh, holy shit. I just... My reasoning as to how and why Shiro and the Iceburns managed to create artificial circuits while allowing them to retain their production of odd after prana stops being supplied to them. I want to keep both families together and fix their problems because I believe Shiro would want to fix the relationship between him and the family of Ilya. Not... depending on the ending, you would have to get very specific endings for Shiro to even give a flying fuck about Ilya.
Yeah.
Specifically
just
the
bad
Heaven's Feel route. Like-
Yeah, there's a little bit there with Unlimited Blade Works, but like if the only time he meets her is the first night, it's not much interest aside from that random white-haired child tried to kill me, and that's it. Because UBW and Heaven's Feel goes a bit more into why she was targeting him, which is where the relationship started building from.
Shiro could alter even if Ilya was only a homunculus of the Eisenburns. Ilya was not only a homunculus.
Was a half homunculus
Yes.
technically?
Technically, half homunculus got created into a lesser grail, so she's a full homunculus now.
Shiro could alter his nerves to copy the structure of circuits, which means they could learn to produce odd to keep themselves from breaking down.
Not how that works.
That's not how that works at all.
You could probably bullshit that he found a way to trace circuits into his body, but
Actually, speaking of, Shadow actually wrote a story about that.
Shadow is the resident fate person.
Yes.
I'm beginning to understand this, yes.
With the Eisenburn mastery of structural manipulation, Shiro's circuits would be upgraded with exotic materials. I'm still trying to figure out how they did that. After altering and upgrading his fake nerve circuits, they had enough odd production to maintain themselves, and if Shiro reinforces his body, he can make them produce more mana.
Okay.
If Shiro uses mana to reinforce his body, he can make his mana producers produce more mana. Then why is every Magus in existence not doing that?
Also, I can't see the numbers behind the chat. How many circuits is he claiming he created based off the nerves? 570.
570.
That number should be significantly higher.
At least several thousand. Yes.
Yeah. Like, again, if he's been doing this at minimum every night for even just 5 to 6 years, that's 365 per year. He should be just shy of 2,000, probably just shy of 2,100 circuits.
I mean, even accounting for a 20% margin of error, he would still have like 2.2 thousand circuits. With a 20% margin of error as a lowball. So, yeah.
Let's pull up
I'm going to leave a review.
calculator.
At no point in time did any of your math look anything like anything more than made up numbers shit onto a page.
Oh yes, there's that sneaky devil charm.
Indeed. If he wants to say he's more in line with fate, then he should have expected this.
I mean, he posted to the internet. You should expect this regardless.
Pretty
True.
much.
Have I missed anything of value while I was indisposed?
Yeah, he's claiming Shiro only created 570 circuits, and that the Eisenburns upgraded them all to real circuits by injecting him with heavy metals.
Yeah, by the way, Sneaky, your 20% margin of error accounts for like about 400. This dude appears to be thinking it's a 100%
Yeah.
like yield. So he should be at like 1800 circuits bare minimum.
Well, I mean, if he's doing it... Wait, hold on. If he's doing it for 8 years...
Yeah. Well, again, so Shadow mentioned he thinks Kiritsuka died 5 years prior.
Yeah.
Shiro was probably learning for a year or two before that, so I guess we'll round it and say 7, maybe. Seven years, 365 days. Give an extra day for the leap year that would have occurred. It might have been 2 leap years. But it's a fucking lot.
So anyway, yeah, going by the
I would say,
highball,
look, the point
then...
here is this guy doesn't know what he's talking about
Absolutely
in
not
the
at all.
slightest.
Where the fuck are these numbers coming from? In fact, by your own bullshit math, you did half of your calculations backwards.
You see, Shiro, in fact, oh, you know what? That
Mhm.
would be kind of a fun story, Sneaky.
What?
Cross the Jedi exile into fate. You know, the whole
Yeah, I
death
know.
of
Yeah.
the Force, and specifically gaining power by just sucking it out of other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could equate the Force to mana.
I would say
Decently
we have
enough.
no reason not to.
Well, I mean, fucking, what's his face? Darth Bane. Was that Darth Bane? The guy who ate? No, was that Darth Plague? No, the
Oh,
guy who
Nihilus is the Nihilus.
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 Okay. There were 2 that ate planets.
Yeah.
The first was Nihilus, and then like creation-wise, the first was Nihilus, and then they retconned it so that whatever the Sith Emperor is in the Old Republic, he did it before, but he had to do like a ritual to do it.
Yeah, Nihilus kind of just walked right up to a planet and was like...
Now this was just like,
But anyway, point being is that, as far as I'm aware, there was no requirement that the planet needed to be populated, and that Nihilus was actually eating the Force energy of the world.
well, no, he was drawn to concentrations of Force energy, which is why he ate the Miraluka planet, because almost all of them were Force sensitive,
Right. Okay.
because that was how they saw.
Right. Right, but when he did that, he also ate all of the life energy of the rest of the planet. Leaving
Yes.
it a desolate wasteland. But you see, that's what I'm trying to say, though, is like... He can eat the life force of planets, not just the Force sensitives on them.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Which means that there is an energy that is inherent to planets, which means that you could parallel that to mana and ether, which means that, yes, the exile could in fact slurp up mana as the black hole they are. And yeah, it'd be something. It'd be really hard to write because they couldn't be summoned as a servant, being that they would probably eat the Grail by existing.
That would be a really funny way for the Grail War to fail. someone tried to summon this servant, and then the Grail just kind of stopped existing.
Yeah. Error for Grail not found. So yeah, you'd be really limited in getting the exile to end up on Earth.
I mean, there's what the fuck was it they did in that one? Just something. The hyperspace went fucky, and they held it together with the Force.
Yes, but again, you have to keep in mind that the tale of Episode 4 was a long time ago in a galaxy far away. Meaning that the hyperspace fucking up would have to propel them across multiple galaxies and through the future.
I mean, they had one where it went. They actually already did that.
Did they really? Well, I mean, of course they did.
Well, no, Siki, this was old canon, actually.
I'm aware. That's what I'm saying. I know the books. I was there. Do not quote the scrolls to me.
I too have read the Elder Scrolls.
I was there when the books were forged. Yeah.
But yeah, so they did do that. It's
Yeah. But I don't think they might have gone into the future, but I don't think they did the whole we're in like the other side of the universe thing.
I mean, they did travel a significant distance, like severely off course, not like
Still
to
in the same
another
galaxy
universe.
though.
Well, yeah, that's because the guy who did it was a punk-ass low-level Sith amping himself up with a bunch of expendable rocks.
Right, but the exile is a black fucking hole, so that wouldn't work for them.
What do you mean? Like, the exile... Okay, if you're working off the exile at the end of Coder 2, they are, like, probably more powerful than Anakin Skywalker because of the amount of force they've eaten. Don't forget, they made Nihilus a snack.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
They made a snack out of the man who made a snack of a planet.
Yes. I remember. I was there. I was there! When the books were forged! When the games were made! I played the shit out of them, too!
Excuse you. For as much as I love Coder 2, it was not made. It was excreted out the door in significant haste.
I can't disagree with that one. Dude, I remember distinctly. I played Coder 1, beat it. Played Coder 2, beat it. Played Coder 1 again, perfect run, beat it. Went to go play Coder 2 again. Got to, halfway through the mining facility and was like, yeah.
I don't want to fucking do this no more.
I'm gonna go play Coder 1 again. So I went to go play Coder 1 again. This time with Bad Bastila.
Here's the thing, right? Like, when I first played Coder 2, it hit me at just the right point in my cynical little life to be like, brilliant. Because, Coder 2 is essentially like Philosophy 200. Like, that's the plot of the games, right?
More or less, yeah. More or less, yeah.
Or would it be more like a 3000?
No, it was more like a Philosophy 103 pretending it's Philosophy 200.
Yeah, there you go. It's like Philosophy 200 if the professor was like, okay, listen, Nietzsche was interesting, but he was also a dick, so don't emulate him, instead of letting you draw your own conclusions.
N-I-C-Z-H-E! My name like a motherfucker. Hands anyone can spelling bee. That was actually a good rap. I liked that rap.
Yes.
Yeah, Tenebrae. We don't care about him. Heard you mentioned me writing a fic about something. Yeah, so Shadow, we were talking about how you wrote a fic about how Shiro was tracing new circuits for him to use. And then using the mana those circuits created to trace more circuits. And then, despite the fact that he was tracing circuits and the mana those circuits that he traced produced was barely in the positives, Shiro's solution was, if I'm barely in the positive in terms of amount of mana it takes to create a circuit and maintain it to the amount of mana that circuit creates, his solution was, well, I'll then just create so many circuits that my net profit of mana will be enough for me to do anything. It's like, well, okay.
What if I just invest like crazy?
What if I just invent my own cryptocurrency? But yeah, fun times. Yeah, projected denial, the pure crack story. Yeah. I was there when the prophecy was spoken. I was there when the orators recited the cursed words. I was there when the scribes wept blood as they carved upon the slabs. I was there when the slabs were lost to savages. I was there when they were recovered by lesser races. I was there when they broke our language and tore it into their savage tongue. Do not quote the scrolls to me, young blood. Yes, great.
That was exactly what I hoped for.
In fact, by your own bullshit math, you did half your calculations backward. Fucking 2,000 circuits. 2,000. Woo, lad.
Oh Lord, Sneaky! I just had a terrifying thought.
Oh yeah, what's that terrifying thought?
Exile ends up in the clock tower, gets sealing designation from what's the clock tower queen?
Oh, Bartholomew.
Yeah.
Lorelei Bartholomew.
Yeah. And now I want to
Yeah.
see Bartholomew try to punch the exile.
Eh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
It's a meh thought, honestly.
My brain responded to that mega meh by having everything go grayscale and Megalovania playing. Fate scattered fragments. My take on the Holy Grail War set in modern America 16 years after the Fifth Grail War. The adventures...
Hey! I feel bad for this dude, because Fate Strange Fake is a thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's infinitely more interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
The adventure of an outsider
yeah.
who managed to stumble his way into a Holy Grail War, establishing fake characters not present as most referenced to.
I'm sorry, Sneaky. Rooster Teeth has downsized its modeling department following Ruby Volume 9 pre-production.
Oh, wow. They're just getting shafted more and more.
So they shrank their department before they even produced the season?
No, they finished basically what happened here is they churned and burned the modelers.
Yeah.
They had to make all the season 9 models and then cut them because they have all the models. They just have to animate them.
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest, if I worked for Rooster Teeth in this day and age or something like that, I'd put like little imperfections in the rigging.
I mean, yeah, I would do.
Just like, yeah, you're gonna spend like 4 hours fixing this. But that's 4 hours you're not spending animating, so fuck you.
Listen, I would be like, I'm gonna rig it so that when they have them do a sprint animation, the neck just goes inside the body.
You could do that.
I am
Yeah, I
going
know
to
you can, that's
introduce
why I said
Bethesda bug. Speaking of Bethesda bugs, sorry, I'm going to introduce Bethesda bugs into this model, and then I'll show them a bunch of animations that specifically don't have any of the bugs mentioned. And so when they inevitably fire me and I have to leave, they have to rehire me to fix the rig.
Here you go, guys. Well, I mean, granted, any 3D modeler animator worth their salt should be able to re-rig without too much issue.
Yeah,
But
probably.
it-
I'm not sure how 3D model rigging works. Is there any like code involved in that?
well, so the rigging is done with a skeleton. They're literally called bones.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
You got
I've seen it.
you got
before,
your
yeah.
main bone. You split the bones off from there, going to you got 3 bones for the torso normally for the spine, bone for the neck, bone for the head. However many bones you need for your arms, fingers, legs, and all that. So if something is wrong with the way it's rigged, you can either try to A, figure out what bone is parented to what bone, resulting in, for some reason, when you raise the right arm, the neck just shrinks into the torso. So you got to figure out, is this parented in a way I can unparent it, or am I going to have to delete this entire skeleton and spend the next 10 to 30 minutes fixing that? Because then there's this thing called weight painting, which determines how much effect does a bone have in a given spot. So like it goes from red to blue. Solid blue on an object means this bone controls this entire thing. And it fades to red slowly, so it affects smaller bits of, say, the torso. So you can fuck with the weight painting. So you can do this one of two ways. You either parent the neck bone to the right arm, so when it's raised, the neck bone goes down as an inverse kinematic,
Nope.
or you can weight paint the neck to do the opposite for some
Nice.
reason.
I
So
mean,
you have a
they-
lot of ways to fuck with this.
is it possible that when Ruby raises her arm, she goes into crab mode?
There's a good chance someone animated that just for fun. Yes.
Excellent.
There's all kinds of fun shit you can do with rigging, but it's also one of the more tedious things because it's super easy to fuck up if you're not careful.
Oh yeah, yeah. As someone who watches some Hollow Live occasionally, I'm very well aware
Occasionally.
of that. Yeah, actually, occasionally. It's like maybe makes up 1 out of every 10 videos I watch. Yeah, one of the Hollow Live members got a new model, and when she turned her head a certain way, her ears fell off.
Wait, who got the new model?
That's not normal.
Gura.
Oh, shh. Wait, was it the cat ears or her?
It was the
was
cat
this-
ears, yeah.
Oh, okay. 2D rigging with live 2D gets even weirder. I don't know anything about rigging for that aside from you are editing individual frame data.
Yeah, because the cat ears were added as an accessory and not as like part of the main skeleton or whatever. Whenever she turned her head, her ears would fall off.
Nice. Okay. Gray is asking, like, could you make a thing with the smallest bone weighed highly in this? So the way the weight works is you paint an arm blue, and that weight is tied to the bone in the arm. Now, if you want to fuck with around with the smallest bone, I guess you could duplicate a bone, set it to the right arm, parent it to another bone that you then shrink to an infinitesimally small amount as far as the program can render it. Which, by the way, the program can render a literal dot in space, so good luck with that. Whichever jackass has to deal with that. Depending on the program, you can change the highlight color, including making it not highlight. And you can, I think you can actually customize which bone glows what.
Of course
So
you can.
So you could just be like, oh, right arm is parented to a tiny bone that's 3 kilometers in the x-axis away from the body.
Yeah.
And when you move the right arm, that little bone also tells the leg to just rotate
Invert.
in a horrible fashion.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to fix it because you can't find the bone. Because it's a
this is
dot in
glorious.
space 3 kilometers away. Of course, I don't know if the program could go 3 kilometers away, but in theory it can. Scales are fun, after all.
Trying to find that literal dot in space.
Have fun, motherfucker. Man, honestly, if I was feeling really mean, I would say give a character with buttons on their thing. Shrink the bone to hide in the button, and then parent the bone to the button,
Oh my god.
and then parent other bones to that same bone. There's all kinds of things you can do to really
yes.
fuck something
You
up.
see, when Ruby goes to fire her gun, her skeleton reorganizes into that of a crab.
If you really want to fuck with them, you could. There's something called baked-in animations.
I'm sorry, hold
Ye-
on, I can see it now. The most fearsome hunter of them all, Krabby.
Oh no!
It's just a crab.
In this world of bloody evolution, Ruby has reached peak evolution. She has returned to crab.
The crab with a knife.
It's the crab with a fucking knife.
Crabbo with Stabbo.
You know
The
what?
we need something more powerful than even the gods to defeat Salem.
You
I
have to.
found it. The Crabbo.
The weapon
The
that
Stabbo.
surpasses the Metal Gear.
You have to hard sell that to, like, whenever there's a Grim attack, she just transforms, and the Grim's like, "No, we're done, we're good."
My
They see
semblance.
the crab.
The one thing even the Grim fear.
My semblance is the ability to accelerate evolution. Turns into crab. Everything around them turns into crabs.
This
Great.
doesn't seem right.
Great, it's an AoE. Lovely.
Play crab rave. Grim dead. Oh no! My semblance has turned the Grim into crabs! We shall have a mighty battle today! You know what my favorite part about crab evolution is? The fact that it's cyclical. Which means that everything reaches the point of crab so much that you actually hit peak crab inside an ecosystem, and everything decides that being a crab is no longer cool, and immediately proceeds to diverge from being a crab to the point where you have low crab in the ecosystem, and everything realizes that there's now a gap in the ecosystem that crab can fulfill, and they turn back into crab, reaching a new peak of crab. It's so fucking dumb, I love it.
Fuck Mother Nature sometimes.
Being a crab is no longer beneficial, everything stops being a crab. Oh, hey, the position of crab is open.
Hey.
Fucking nature.
Crabs that have moss on them or something.
No, wait, Sneaky.
Yeah.
We've got it all wrong.
Yeah.
The only thing that can truly counter Salem. A crayfish.
Oh dear.
I invoke the unholy power!
That fucking crayfish. Asshole. Miyazaki had a field day with Elden Ring.
Miyazaki always has a field day with his work.
Oh yeah, apparently I just saw a news article today of like their next game is like ending pre-production already.
Yeah, no, it's not even ending pre-production. Production.
Oh.
And they've got like the B team making the Elden Ring DLC apparently.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, okay.
It
Are
is not the
we-
B team that made Dark Souls 2.
Oh,
Okay.
thank God.
Okay.
That had to be
Christ.
said.
Subverted.
Oh,
Oh.
God. Fate Rejoice Nightmare. What if Shiro was found by Kairei instead of Kiritsugu during the fire? This is the story of Shiro Kodamine. Shiro times female Gilgamesh harem.
Okay, hang on, Sneaky. We can make this a lot more interesting with Shiro ketamine.
Shiro Ketamine. I'm sorry, my brain just because of memes, my brain just immediately jumped to Kiritsugu showing up one day. His wife's at home. He's like, "Hello, beautiful wife," and she's like, "What do you have there?" And he pulls up his hand. He's like, "It's a gun." She's like, "No, I mean the ape next to you." And he's like, "Ah, yes, I adopted this chimpanzee from the local zoo after he escaped. I named him Shiro and fed him ketamine." And then the ape goes batshit, kills them both, takes the gun, and goes on an assassination rampage. I think it would make a good one shot. You know, because that's all the bullets that Shiro's going to be able to get out of a gun,
Yes.
being that he's an ape on ketamine. But yeah. Wow, none of these stories are remotely interesting.
Welcome to the Fate section. Sucks, don't it?
Shiro is a Muramasa XP. Fate Irripio Magni. Enjoy this OC self-insert who trapezes through the timelines of Fate, making friends. This is a triple author story. Jesus Christ.
Oh no, mistakes are made when you go more than 2.
Undeserved
I'm sorry.
Valhalla.
Hold on.
Yep.
Okay. Apparently, it got so hot in Minnesota that the roads are bleeding.
That happens, yeah.
Sounds about right.
Damn.
That do be what Minnesota
Don't
be
go to
like.
Minnesota, people.
Why would you ever go to Minnesota?
Co-authored,
Job.
co-authored. Wow, why are there so many co-authored fics these days? Like, don't get me wrong. I can't insult it because that's exactly what I do, but
Yeah.
Because some people think that they'll make a better thing with another person.
and then they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, in the case of my work with Sneaky, it was definitely better than anything I'd done prior.
Oh, definitely. Hey,
That's pretty much the reviews I've been getting on Yelp. We'll see what happens when I pair up with Orf.
we'll see if it continues.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I
Either
wouldn't.
going to be a 100 or a negative 100 on that one.
Yeah.
There's no zero.
I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's either going to happen or it's not. Mostly because of the fact that Orf is Orf, and his ability to write is bipolar.
Oh no, one of those problems.
So, yeah, he's been telling me for the past 2 years now that he's definitely going to write the next chapter of Snoopy tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still hasn't.
It's
Okay.
it's
Did
been
he ever finish the first chapter?
Oh yeah, he did. He published it. It's
I gotta
been
get
Oh.
dinner. I'll be back.
it's been about 800 days since the last chapter of Snoopy.
Yeah.
Coming up on year 3, huh?
Well, let's see. Actually, Orpheus.
Thinking how long's it been since we updated?
Don't look at the date. 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 Oh yeah, by any other name. Yeah. Holy shit, I wasn't that far off. I was making a joke. It's literally published October 2020. Holy shit. I was actually making a joke, but I was almost on point. Yeah, so we're at like what? 670 days?
It'll be 700 days in October, so
Well, no, it would be 690 days in October.
365 days.
It'll be 780 days, I
Yeah.
think. No, 770 days.
No, Jesus Christ.
Three-
Holy shit.
365.
730.
It'd be
730.
730. Holy fucking
730.
shit. Oh my. Look, I have an excuse. I have been drinking this whole time. You two don't have it. Both of you are fucking engineers. Neither of you have an excuse.
I'm a failed engineer and I just had a long day at work, but fuck yourself.
I got told that I wasn't going to continue with one, so I'm depressed today.
Oh,
So-
that's rough, guy.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, that's why there's another 3 applications out for various things, including Ohio. I'm going to
Ohio's
rural
an
bar
okay
state.
place to live.
Honestly, don't
Kind
go
of.
to Ohio. Ohio's terrible. I hate their roads. I hate the existence of Ohio. There's not a single part of Ohio that I enjoyed the time I was there.
You should have stuck to the Amish.
The Amish
Gotta-
are in Pennsylvania.
Gotta go where the job
fuck
is.
Are you okay, Sneaky? The Amish are in a number of areas on the east side. We have Amish here in Georgia.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
They make some good fucking food.
Oh, okay, so they also fry amazing pretzels down there, right?
Oh, not even that. They just make some really good fucking food. Like home style Southern cooking.
I see.
They run restaurants here.
Yeah. They don't run restaurants up here. They just sell food for cash,
Isley,
and then
you
they don't
blind
report any,
motherfucker.
then they don't report any of it to the IRS.
Isley, I'm gonna start muting Isley in the chat.
What did
Go for it.
that idiot do this time?
He's mixing the two of them up on purpose.
Despite
of
the
course.
fact that we are now literally color coded in a way.
Yeah. Isekai Ruby. I love the fact that we've got 82 favorites for this story. Like, despite the fact that it's not an Isekai Ruby, it's an Isekai into Ruby. Ruby's not being Isekai'd. We still had 82 people favorite it, and 129 people follow it, which is just mind-blowing to me because some of the numbers in comparison to his other stories. I really want to see how far that can go. I will literally pay him eternally to finish that story if he does.
Well, it may get more attention from him with the new season.
I mean, that's also true. I told him, I told him straight to his face. I was like, look, Orf, you're a good friend. I love you. But I have paid you for 5 chapters now, and you've only delivered one of the 6.
I'm sorry, does he have a buy 5 get 1 free deal I didn't know about?
Oh, no, I just continuously paid him month after month, even though he didn't deliver. Sort of like what Wolf did. Because, you know, I'm like, you know, I know the guy, he's gonna deliver, you know, eventually, you know.
I'm
Yes.
starting to think maybe he's not.
I mean, he's reliable. He delivered for Juicio,
Oh God.
his Necromancer in Vegas story. That's his Juicio commission. He's just been really busy, and like he's been legitimately busy. He's been getting his fucking pharmacist degree.
He accidentally got 2 summer courses
No, not accidentally.
Um,
He didn't know what a college lab course was, so he queued, and he
Oh.
didn't know what a summer course was because this is his first year in college,
Oh.
and so he queued up 2 summer course labs.
Oh, that poor man.
Yeah.
His counselors failed him.
Yes.
That's something they should have
Absolutely.
caught them and be like, "Hey, are you sure about this? You're a freshman."
Oh, no, they especially failed him because the whole reason why he's taking summer courses in the first place is because he's currently at school on a grant. And the people in charge of the grant, including the school, didn't tell him he needed to fulfill a certain credit number requirement by the end of the year until the semester ended. And so he's like, well, the only way to fulfill that requirement now is if I add on 3 summer course classes on top of my next semester.
That is foobar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what could have been just extra work in the first semester, extra work in the second semester, and a single summer course class turned into 2 lab classes and a philosophy class in the summer. So, yeah. So I understand why he's not
Yeah.
updated.
That is completely understandable.
I gotta keep in mind, his Juicio story updated in May, and I have been betaing for his Juicio story, and its update rate was so fucking sporadic. Oftentimes, he would be talking to me about the next chapter, and then he would be delivering me the next chapter about 3 to 4 hours later because he wrote the entire thing in that span of 4 hours because he had the free time then. So like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've known him since he was in the Naruto section and he did a lot of shit back then.
Yeah. So I have faith it'll be delivered, but still.
It's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah. Still, by any other name. I can't believe it got that many favorites and follows.
Yep.
One reviewer, I'm not sure I like your commissioner saying that Ruby is only enjoyable while he drinks. Fuck you. It was 100% enjoyable while I drank. Oh god. But yeah, some of these, all of these are cringe. Altered Mordred. I'm self-inserting into Mordred back in time.
That's not going to change anything, really.
No.
If anything, that's just going to make Morgan kill you immediately and restart.
Yeah. Shiro joins Chaldea and uses Bladeworks to GG. My first chapter is awful, but please bear with me. It's my first story.
No.
No.
Go away. I'd rather read the Ainz one.
Yeah, right. Tempered by Fire, Wish Fulfillment, Female Shiro, Harem Builder, Alternate Servants, Mass Servant Summon, Harem, Yuri. Chaldean Chronicles. A Tale of 3 Young Teens. This is the duo author story. Young adult fanfiction. Fate Broken Order. Another Chaldea story. Nothing interesting happens. Self-insert OC. Rebellion 0. Isekai's Mordred. Fate's Day Night Airs. A retelling of the 5th Holy Grail War, where Rin gets Saber. It's a mixture of Heaven Feel. Wait, so then who the fuck does... Who does Shiro summon then? What the fuck is it?
That leaves
Rin?
Archer open.
Relationship. Rin times Saber, also featuring characters Sakura and Arturia. What?
I am confused. This has 120 chapters.
It says 500,000 words.
This
What
is
the
sad.
fuck? I'm sad. I'm done. Alright. Bye-bye, everyone! Bye-bye! So we won't be having a podcast on Tuesday because I will be flying to Florida. But I will be back by Friday. So I'll see
Yay.
you in a week because there's always more and it always gets worse.